Donald Trump held a rally yesterday in Michigan, and while there, he had a few technical difficulties because his teleprompter actually malfunctioned. And he completely embarrassed himself as this was happening, so we'll take a look at that clip here in a second, but that was not the only embarrassing thing that happened during that rally, because he went on a rant about how Kamala Harris lied about working at McDonald's. Just take a look at this.
Country destroying liberal agenda once and for all. You know, I call her Lion Camera. She worked at McDonald's. I watched her being interviewed. People were crying. It was so sad. Yes, I grew up working at McDonald's over the French fry counter. Oh. She never worked there. It was a lie. She's lying, Kamala. She never worked there. Somebody went, some good reporter back there, actually. They didn't want to actually report the story, but we found out about it. Because they don't like to report. You don't hear that much about it. You know what's beautiful about that one? It's so simple. It's not like complex. We don't have to go through the history of it. She said, I worked at McDonald's. It was a tough job. She said she worked over the French fries. You know, it's probably not so nice if it's 200 degrees out, right? Probably not so nice. It turned out to be a lie. It's all a big lie. She's not qualified to be the president.
So there's a couple things about this that I want to talk about. One, just because someone doesn't have documentation anymore that they worked at that place, that does not mean that they didn't work there. Among her list of accomplishments, I think McDonald's would rank last on the list, and I don't imagine she would be putting that on a resume anyway. The other thing I wanted to mention about this is how Donald Trump made this out to be a whole big thing. Like, he claims that she lied, and that this one supposed lie is enough to make her unqualified for president. Which is just so ironic coming from Donald Trump himself. Most of his supporters acknowledge that Trump is known for his lies, they just don't tend to care. But when he claims that Kamala Harris lied, then all of a sudden she's unqualified? Makes total sense. So this was a completely embarrassing moment for Donald Trump. But there was an even more embarrassing moment that you still have to see, because Donald Trump's teleprompter malfunctioned and he completely lost it. Take a look at this.
She did so many different things, so many deadly things, and we can't let this go on. We can't let this happen to our country. We're not going to let it happen to our country. And I just want to tell you that it's been a great honor to be with you. We're at a point in our country's life that I think it's the most important election in the history of our country. I think there's never been anything as important. There's never been anything like it. And by the way, I want to tell you a funny story. Can I tell you one story before we leave? The teleprompter just went out. Just went out. I'm standing here, and I do most of it without the tele. Isn't it nice to have somebody that doesn't need a teleprompter? These teleprompters, you know, it's very dangerous. You got to be careful. You know, teleprompters will often go out. And if you're a certain type of person like Joe Biden, what would he do with the teleprompter? He's no good when the teleprompter is on. But what would you do? No, the teleprompter just went out. And you know what I say? Usually I don't talk about it. Just keep going. Just keep going. If you saw it, just so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. It's wonderful. I love you very much. And go out and vote. That's true. Go out and vote. And I would say, together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs. We're going to have low interest rates. It just went on, by the way. Low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. No, it is true. Oh, we've lost the teleprompter many times. The worst is the wind. I was in Ohio for Bernie Moreno, and it was 45-mile-an-hour winds. These things were blowing like flags. You felt like a drunken sailor, in all due respect. They're blowing, so then they blew off the stage, and I'm stuck out there with 52,000 people. I'm stuck there. I had no nothing. I couldn't even stand up with the wind. It was so crazy. And we got through it, and you know what? He took a big increase, and he's doing okay, I understand, Mike. I hear he's doing all right.
Yeah, Donald Trump's teleprompter went out, and then he had to interject with this story about how his teleprompter went out. And I'll be honest, he did a pretty good job at masking this whole thing, because he made it look like he was just there having fun and sharing a fun story with the crowd. But here's the thing. I think Trump was just buying time by telling this teleprompter story so that they would fix it. And by directly saying that it went out, the crew were able to realize that there was something wrong, and they worked to fix it right away. I think the truth is that Trump needs the teleprompter. He just talks it up like he doesn't, because if that was the case, then why does he need to go on this whole side tangent? Maybe it's just his narcissism, but either way, this was super embarrassing for Donald Trump.